Good evening. Welcome to Altura and welcome to the Ascended Podcast. My name is Caleb Schilke, the host, and as always, it's an honor to have you back. Tonight's going to be a very important script. Thursdays and Fridays, I like to get into the secret hidden side of the curriculum that you can expect full deep dive lessons on once you're fully part of the Altura project after our mint date. So I'm excited to have you in our community. I'm excited to welcome this project. It's been my heart and soul, and I know that it'll change your life. Tonight's topic, how entrepreneurship actually works. And I'm going to explain. Every generation has its myths about wealth creation. In the 20th century, they told you the clearest path was go to college, right? Climb the corporate ladder, work your ass off, slave some time away to take vacation and retire. That's what your parents knew. In the 21st century, they told you to chase venture capital, start that business, get into the Y Combinator, or just hope the bank approves your loan for a business. And in Web3, right, they told you to flip memes, to mint the hype, and to pray that you weren't rug pulled. But the truth hasn't really actually changed in about 500 years. The Renaissance had the Medici family, bankers who funded artists and merchants, deciding which names would live on forever. Silicon Valley, as we know, had the PayPal mafia, with some of the biggest names still driving success in corporate finance today. In BlackRock, in all of the major hedge funds that are buying up real estate, controlling the markets behind the scenes, and dominating the economy. This small circle of alumni they went to fund Tesla, right, with Elon Musk, and SpaceX. They funded LinkedIn. They funded YouTube. All of the major technology that now controls your day-to-day life, they have an impact on. That's not just wealth. That's absolute power, greater than politics. Wall Street has hedge funds and private equity firms. They decide which companies essentially rise and fall. The common trend between this is circles of belief. Small groups that said we could be good off on our own, we could figure it out, but we'd be better working together. We'd be better pooling our resources, protecting one another, and building empires. It's taking me out of my way to go and help you in this lawsuit. It's going out of my way to use your technology over a competitor's, but that's how we control the economy. That's how we control the market and make sure that entrepreneurs like you don't get in. And they've been damn successful at it. Altura is the next circle, but this time it's open. The only question is, will you choose to step inside? And that's the question that begs tonight's podcast. I want to be brutally honest about why most entrepreneurs fail today. It's not because they lack hustle. Please don't get that wrong. So many of you work very hard, and it's almost too hard. You look at people at the top and you don't understand how most of their job isn't slaving away at a keyboard every single moment of their day. It's because the system was designed against them and certainly you, but they just found a way to beat it. You haven't taken the chance yet. 80% of small business loan applications for first-time business owners are rejected by banks. You have a 4 out of 5 chance, according to the US Federal Reserve in their 2023 report, of getting a small business loan. The odds are completely stacked against you. How many of you would flip a coin knowing 4 out of 5 times it's going to work against you? On the one shot to make a better life for yourself. Venture capital deploys 70% of its money into 3 states: California, New York, and Massachusetts. If you are not one of those 3 states, or if you're not even in the US, then good luck. Universities now saddle students with $1.7 trillion, with a T, $1.7 trillion in US debt to college students without careers yet. While fewer than 15% of graduates, so less than 1 in 5, say their degree prepared them to run a business. Why is this the system? In Web3, in the new modern AI tech-driven era, NFTs, assets on the blockchain, cryptocurrencies, staking, proof of work, promised freedom, but mostly delivered speculation and hype train meme coin investors until now. But look at the numbers. 90% of NFT projects that were launched in the last crypto cycle, so 4 years ago, essentially, have lost liquidity massively and community activity. Most communities, the Bored Ape Yacht Club that Justin Bieber was buying and Kanye was, sponsoring. I remember Snoop Dogg would buy a CryptoPunks. Most of those communities are dead and that money is gone, wasted. The average hold time for a profile picture NFT is about 40 days. So if you bought Altura for the profile picture and we didn't have the benefits, or we had the benefits that all these other communities have, you would stay in our community about 40 days. You would be wasting your money buying our token. Thankfully, why we didn't do that. Only a handful, so Bored Apes, the CryptoPunks, and Pudgy Penguins, among others, have sustained value. And even if they often did it, right, by being diverse, they still had the same strategy. You need to pivot into real businesses. If the money stays in NFTs, if the money stays in the initial fund, it's not going to work. So I took that concept and that's how I built Altura. Our goal is to start with NFTs. That is your entry pass. It is the best, most real-time verifiable asset to show that you are a member of our community. It's our digital security guard saying, is this in your wallet or not? Therefore, you're let in. Don't care about the NFTs after that point, except for the resale value, which hopefully will be equivalent to CryptoPunks at about $200,000 from a $200 investment. You guys can do the math and find out what the ROI is. What does that tell you? That most projects like ours would fail. Pretty encouraging news for me to be telling you, right? The founder of this project. But we're going to do exactly what these three, among other successful projects have done. The money is being funded in NFTs. What happens after mint is the key factor that drives life or not. The lesson here is clear. Art isn't enough. Without infrastructure, the hype will die off. Hype dies in about 40 days, in about 5 to 6 weeks. Without utility, value disappears. That is the problem that we single-handedly exist to solve. What other ventures do we start? I'm not going to tell you guys unless you're a holder. Like, you don't get the actual ROI investment opportunities handed to you unless you're inside, because that is part of the belief. And that's also something that all these other projects preyed on, and then they just took your money. That's not how this is going to work, because you guys can see from day one the money going into the account, the money that's going into the community fund, what's funding your projects, what's going into events and meetups, what's going into the education and the accelerator. Everything's public, and you guys get to vote to control where those assets go. I don't own the infrastructure. History repeats itself, and I want to make a point here. The Renaissance didn't just happen, it was funded. And all of these great projects had to come from belief in a system. It's harder than ever to do that because trust, especially in the United States, among common everyday citizens, is at a peak lowest. That's why society is collapsing. That's why infrastructure is falling. That's why townships don't work out anymore, because nobody can turn to another person on a street corner and say, hey, you know, if a car hit me, would you come and take care of me? Would you give me aid? Most of them would walk by on their phone. No kidding. That's the bystander effect in practice. Most of these people don't give a shit about you. And so it's almost impossible to make something like this work again. And that is the uphill battle we face. But if we want to be a great era, like the Renaissance, we need to do like Leonardo da Vinci, find the Medici family. You see, the Medicis funded over 50% of Florence's artists, scientists, and inventors. That specific circle of capital gave us Michelangelo, along with Leonardo da Vinci and Galileo, right? One of the biggest astronomers of the time. Silicon Valley didn't just appear in California. It was seeded by a circle. The PayPal mafia that I mentioned earlier was key to that. In 2002, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Hoffman, Lechkin turned one company into a web of enterprises worth, in my opinion, and analysts' best guesses, about several trillions of dollars. Trillion, once again, with a T. Crypto's biggest fortunes are the same story. The earliest syndicates of Bitcoin miners back in probably about 2009 to 2012 and Ethereum believers became today's billionaires. Not because they were lucky. I don't want you to just associate buying Bitcoin in 2008 with luck and holding on to it. That's part of it. That might be what drove the money into your account, but it's because they were early and they had insider access and they just never left the table. Luck is the reason that the money came in, but they wouldn't have found out about the opportunity unless they were inside a circle of information. So the information is what drives the opportunity to be lucky. You guys understand that? So the outside world calls it luck. Insiders know that it's program structure. Altura is the structure for that generation, okay? Make that a very known point to yourself. Most NFT projects vanish post-mint, and I want to be clear about this. That's why I've been so adamant on letting you guys know the risk of these projects. Now, obviously, my intent is to be very transparent and share all that stuff on the front end. So, and you guys know who I am, you know my background and what I've done for a living. So hopefully that adds something to it. But we want to be different, because when others gave you the hype, we gave you the actual infrastructure. Where others just sold you an art piece. The art piece to us was secondary, and it's not to mention 50, 100 times better in quality because our artist worked on a Netflix level project before this. What is in here? What are the long-term, decade-long systems, generation-long systems that you're going to get to access for a couple $100 in one time? First is a private network, 8,888 tokens. That means give or take maybe 4,000 to 6,000 entrepreneurs total. Ever operators. Next, the Knowledge Hub, a curriculum that's going to rival these elite university MBAs, putting students trillions of dollars in debt, but is battle tested by real builders. And you get it as a hand-me-down, essentially, of my knowledge to you, as well as several other creators that will eventually bring into the community. I'm not going to name who they are now, but they will be making curriculum for you as well. Next is enterprise tools. We're going to give you guys group licenses to thousands of dollars, probably at least $2,000 worth of SaaS every year. So that's, like HubSpot, Notion AI, QuickBooks, could be Opus Clip, it could be Grammarly Premium, could be Google Drive, Executive, could be all of these like little tiny subscriptions that you're paying for that eats up, half of your business budget every single month that you can just get handed to you for free. From hosting your clients to designing ad creatives to editing your videos, all of that stuff, we're going to try to put in one spot that you pay for one time and you get for the rest of your life. That's a bold promise. I'm going to find a way to make it happen. Next is a global meetup. So online and in-person summits in major global cities. We're going to emphasize the US to start, but we're going to go everywhere. Next is a funding pool, $1 million plus seeded from the mint, growing with royalties for community-backed startup investments. How does this work? Well, you guys come to us with your idea. You say, I met somebody in Altura. He's very good at programming. He and I want to start a platform to host your client infrastructure. We say, you know what? That's a great fit. It would also be a great technology for everyone else in the community to get to benefit from. We'll be your first users. You'll start a company and instantly have 5,000 early test subjects for your brand and your product. We can help you grow, figure out the kinks, and drive the value of your subscription and software through the roof. So all of a sudden, you just got thousands of users from being a member in the community and getting it tested out. We benefit as a community by giving that money to you guys to start your companies. We can be a small passive investor in your company for 10% equity, and that equity comes back to fund more of your startups. And it makes your NFTs more valuable because it creates a higher utility behind it. You're getting thousands of dollars of these tools. We get to benefit by adding more and more money to the community fund from your businesses. The community gets to decide what subscriptions, what services, what tools they want to put their money towards, and everybody wins at the end of the day. That's how the Renaissance worked. That's how any revolution worked. That's how this will work. The whitelist and the early supporters of this project, priority access to accelerator rounds. You guys are going to get to be involved in the movements as soon as that first phase ends of the whitelist. Before we actually move to the pre-phase, we'll get to have benefits. You'll get in the circle. You'll get to verify your NFT ownership. And you're going to get to start making decisions and get known at the table before anybody else. You're going to get exclusive recognition. It's not just going to be during mint. It's going to last a lifetime. And because you guys are the biggest supporters. And you're going to get the best price ever, of course. You guys get smaller, tighter networking meetups because you were one of the believers. And showing more belief than someone else means something. That's the whole point of this project. We want to show you guys that your concept of having faith in a system and executing on that is what makes any millionaire. And it has to start from your action to invest $200 into yourself. That's the cost of starting an LLC. If you can't buy an Altura token, how are you going to start an LLC and have faith that you're going to pay it off? And have faith that it's going to drive revenue and have the tools to use it. That's why our token's so much better anyway. I wouldn't even encourage most of you start LLCs until you're making money. And finally, the Apex board, right? The top 8 holders, the people that own the most NFTs. You guys are going to operate similar to that board at the table. Advisory weight, and more importantly, veto power over funding votes. So if the community is voting on something, those 8 people can decide, do we really, really like it? Is this the final decision we want to make? They'll also get to talk with the team on Altura and decide, what is the percentage split? How much equity should we be paying for this person's company? Are they, a $50,000 company from the start? Well, maybe that $5,000 investment should be 10 to 20% of their company then, okay? Essentially, that's how it works. You guys also get private sessions with the headquarters, the team for the deal flow. You're gonna get first access to maybe our cryptocurrency we're gonna start down the line. All of these things that are gonna be involved in our digital Silicon Valley that is Altura. You're gonna get participation in those equity negotiations, and it isn't just collect and wait, right? The top 8 people, they're gonna get private events, flown access places. This is join and build. That's why every NFT isn't just art, it's a sovereignty pass. And I want you guys to truly understand that. The more you own, the higher the resale value, because a $200 investment turned into $200,000 and you own 20 of them, you're set for a lifetime. If you bought 20 of our NFTs, you might never have to work again a day in your life. And I truly mean that. We're gonna drive that much value into our space. I wanna make this very concrete. So hopefully that point already was. Imagine you're a founder with a SaaS idea. So normally, right, these are the things you need. First, about 6 to 12 months of building credit. I had to do that to get the Amex Blue business card, which I very quickly stacked up a lot of expenses on. It was all right, but of course you got to pay it off. It's not just money that you get as startup money. Another 6 to 12 months pitching to venture capitalists who ghost you, who decide that you're just some kid that grew up in some city that hasn't done anything big yet. How many millionaire and $1 million companies have you made? None. So why would they trust you with their money? Or you just bootstrap it and you pay out of your own pocket until you burn out. I've had to do that. That was the only way I made it successful. I didn't have the options that Altura is going to be. Here, you mint a NFT. You get an asset that is going to increase in value as more people partake in our movement. So you're paying for something, but you're really just investing in, an asset that should hopefully return money for you. Then you pitch inside the syndicate your business idea. And then if the community votes yes, you receive our cryptocurrency funding directly, bypassing banks. Again, we're probably going to start our own Altura token, and that's going to be used to fund your business. So holders of our NFT will probably at some point get free tokens when we launch it. So you guys are going to get literally handed money back from the community. And then that'll be the funding we use to pay out our business and investments. So that's kind of a future insight, an opportunity you guys might get, but the holders are going to get free currency and they'll get airdrop stuff like that in the future. So that's why it's not just one investment in these basic things. You're investing in the lifetime of brand we're going to be developing. You get hundreds of entrepreneurs in your corner, partners, customers, advisors, people to sell to because they believe in your vision. That's the multiplier. So this value here isn't just the dollars invested. It's the circle that invests and believes in you. That can't be bought. And that's how startups become movements. I'm doing it for you guys. I'm investing my personal money, growing this brand, marketing our clips, showing people that we can believe in something together. And then you guys never have to do it again. You guys all don't have to walk into that office and get embarrassed. You guys don't have to do what I did and apply for 5 different business credit cards and get denied 4 times, right? Before I get approved for the 5th one. Because you shouldn't have to. It shouldn't be that hard to get off the ground and start a business. I'm building a network of people that explicitly believe in other people helping each other succeed. They're the people that are going to be buying the NFTs, and they're probably going to be your first customers. You don't have to market to find them. They'll be in your space. They'll be your first users, your first podcast listeners, because they give a shit in a world that seems to not. Every great transformation starts with a circle. The Enlightenment wasn't an institution. It was a salon of thinkers, right? Meeting in Paris. Silicon Valley wasn't a government program. It was a garage system of hackers pooling belief. Elon Musk sleeping on the floor in the early days. Crypto wasn't mainstream adoption. It was a few thousand miners running rigs in their fucking dorm rooms. Now it's our turn. Altura is the first syndicate-driven launchpad for people like you, entrepreneurs that truly are tired of fucking failing, getting denied, and want to actually make it. I'm tired of it too, which is why I care so much, which is why I'm spending thousands of my own money when I could just go back to coaching or back to my SaaS that I own and work on that instead. I've taken such a big risk on putting this together for you guys. My personal reputation is on the line because I believe in it that much. And so I can't rug pull you guys, because if I rug pull you, I'll never have credibility again. I'm putting my reputation and everything I've worked for in my entrepreneurship journey on the line to make this happen. To the outside world, it just looks like an NFT. And that's why I don't really give a shit. The insiders though, the people I actually want in here, it feels like destiny. Most people are just gonna laugh. They're gonna say NFTs aren't back yet. The infrastructure is stupid. But they don't understand how real-time verification works. They don't understand how the blockchain is the only most trustworthy way to verify your ownership of something, because it's not a central authority that can get hacked into. The IRS just got hacked into last year, and all your social security numbers were leaked. We need decentralization, so every computer is synced up and protecting you in real time. They laughed at NFTs in 2017. The ones who didn't laugh, that actually bought the Bored Apes, became the rich people. $200,000 in the off season they're still selling for. That is a test of belief. And once again, with the Fed just lowering interest rates, with money pooling in, crypto's coming back. All the altcoins, look at like Dogecoin is approaching its new all-time high for the year. All of these currencies are going to come back this fall, which means, and I timed this perfectly because I knew this, NFTs will be too. My call to action, really, my final point is that the numbers are here. 8,888 passes. I'm holding the door open. I'm waiting for you guys, but I'm also telling you now, so you guys can't be mad at me when I close the door. And then the value of those NFTs goes up to $200,000. And you could have paid $300 or $400 at the most in the peak season right now. Getting on the whitelist, investing, before Ethereum goes to $10,000 a pop too. So not only are you growing to 50 Ethereum, but Ethereum's also growing to 10,000 US dollars. And so you just exponentially grew your money because it's growing on 2 different levels. That's like real estate. That's an opportunity that you never had anywhere else. And you can buy it for a couple $100. And of course, the biggest reason, everything you get inside. To me, it's the people. It's you guys that show up every day. You're chatting in Discord. You're showing me that you believe in this. And that just gives me all the more fire to go out and kick ass even more. Bring more members in and show people why this means something to me. I'm putting my face out here. I'm spending my time on the Friday night. I'm thankful that you guys are here because that's the only thing worth doing, is showing the world that humanity can actually partner up and create something good. And they don't have to be a billionaire's son. They don't have to be a trust fund baby. They can be an everyday fucking person that had a hard childhood and wants to change their life for the better. Do you watch from the outside or do you step into the syndicate? That's the final question I'll ask. Thank you guys for watching tonight. Altura is in theory. It's live. The whitelist opens October 1st. The link for this will be down in the description. Go to alturasociety.com on your phone, on your computer, www.alturasociety.com. That's how you join. And I'll see you on the inside. We'll be back tomorrow, we'll be back Tuesday with another podcast episode. We'll be hanging out in the community later tonight. Thank you to everybody that showed up, and I'll be back inevitably to make this happen. So will you guys. Thank you.